What's up, guys? New week, new video. You know what it is. Great week. NBA playoffs started. Let's go ahead and just touch bases on it. It's a little bit late because I like to kind of get this video to you guys right before the playoffs start. But hey, it is what it is. Unfortunately, had stuff come up, so I appreciate y'all patience. Let's start with the playing games. I definitely thought the Clippers were going to make the playoffs. I definitely thought that they were going to be a dangerous team because I think they're among the deepest teams in the league. And so game one of the play-in, they ended up kind of allowing the Timberwolves to take it to them in that first game of the play-in. And then they ended up having to play for the 8th seed against the Pelicans, who are also a pretty good team since the CJ McCollum trade. And you got to wonder what they got if Zion comes back. But definitely thought the Clippers were going to take them out. But unfortunately, Paul George that day caught COVID and was unable to go. It ended up being a tight game from which the Pelicans pulled out and ended up with the 8th seed. Now, I don't think any 8 seed was going to take out the Suns, but I thought the Clippers had enough firepower and enough depth to at least make it interesting. The Pelicans, in my opinion, have no chance against the Phoenix Suns. They were getting blown out basically by 20 the whole game. They made a late run, and then CP3, the point guard, showed who he is in the fourth quarter. I believe he scored 19 in the fourth and really put the Pelicans away. It was a special, special fourth quarter, and all you aspiring point guards should definitely take notes. CP3 is that dude. So, needless to say, I got a sweep. There's not much to talk about with the Suns Pelicans. The Pelicans are just way outclassed. The Suns are probably going to sweep them unless they just get bored and give up one. But that's probably going to be a sweep. Again, Pelicans. Next season is going to be interesting if they get a healthy Zion. I think CJ McCollum's legit. I thought it was a great move for them. I thought Jonas Valanciunas was actually a steal for them because I think he's a better player than Steven Adams. I think that trade worked out for both teams because Jonas Valanciunas needs the ball and Steven Adams doesn't, so it just flows better chemistry wise. But in terms of pure talent, Valanciunas is a better center than Steven Adams. So it worked out for both teams. And, Valanciunas legit. Zion, I think, is legit. CJ's legit. Brandon Ingram's legit. And then they got some exciting rookies in Trey Murphy, the Jose Alvarado kid that keeps stealing the ball, hiding and stealing the ball. Herb Jones was a defensive player of the year type of player caliber. So they got some nice little pieces if they can put it together. Fast forward, Dallas, Utah. Dallas gave Utah a run for their money despite Luka being gone. But I also don't expect much out of this series. Luka had ended up with a calf strain. I unfortunately couldn't believe that Jason Kidd let him play in a meaningless game. And I'm not a guy that I don't like sitting out. So I definitely think Luka should have played. Well, he ended up catching that injury when the game was kind of in hand in the fourth quarter. All right, like let him play a half, maybe 3 quarters, but you gotta take him out. It was a meaningless game. There was no reason for him to be in the game, especially at the point that he got hurt. It was a meaningless game at that point. So I mean, you gotta take it's either or. I don't think he should have sat the whole game, but I don't think he should have been playing when he played, and he ended up getting hurt. And as a result, I think it's going to cost them that series. I think Jason Kidd and Dallas is talented enough to maybe steal a game, but that series is probably going to go 5. Golden State, Denver. I'm going to venture to say that this is going to go 6. I think Denver has Jokic, which is it's the big X factor for Denver because it's kind of the weakness of Golden State. Unless Golden State just gets hot, because this will be the first time we've seen them all together, minus Wiseman, of course, in quite some time. And they had Steph Curry on a minutes restriction, but this is probably a no contest. I'm just out of respect for Jokic, I'm going to say this one's probably going to go 6 games, but I wouldn't be surprised this ends up in a sweep either. I'm only saying that considering that everybody ends up at full health or whatever. So if they fully activate Steph Curry, I mean, it could get ugly quick. Memphis, Minnesota, that's going to be the series to watch. I have a feeling that could go 7. They're going to be throwing haymakers at each other. It's nice to see the young talent get at each other. Let's forward over to the East. Miami, Atlanta, and I'm not a Miami fan. Being a Knicks fan, it's hard to root for Miami, but I do respect those guys. They got one of, if not the best coach in the league, in Eric Spoelstra. I like the way that roster's constructed, top to bottom. With the exception of, I think they just lack really a go-to scorer. I don't think I've gotten into multiple arguments. I like Tyler Hero just fine, but I don't think he's the star or like that people make him out to be. For instance, he said he was on Luka and Devin Booker's kind of arc, and I don't agree with that in Tyler Hero. If Tyler Hero is your number one scorer, I don't think ultimately that's gonna give you enough to make the finals, let alone win it. They're a good team, gritty team. I liked Kyle Lowry. I like the addition of PJ Tucker. They're going to play defense. The problem is that team disappears offensively sometimes. So, but unfortunately for Atlanta, they lost Clint Capella. I'm not sure if he's going to be back. It makes them way too small, especially considering that their star is like not even 6 feet in Trae Young. I think Trae Young could go nuts and maybe steal a game, but this might end in 5. Yeah, it might end in 5. If they got Capella back, I give it 6, but this might end in 5. So let's just go on over to the Philly Toronto game. I think this was the series that could have been real interesting, except it looked to me like Scotty Barnes broke his foot. Now I'm hearing it's a sprained foot, but like if you would have saw the injury when it happened, the way he got stepped on and it rolled over, I thought that foot was broken. To have a 300-pound man stomp on it the way that his was stomped on, I don't think Scotty Barnes is coming back, and it's going to subsequently, mess with the depth. What Toronto does best is they keep rotating long guys that can handle the ball. That's one less long guy that can handle the ball. So now you got to rely more heavily on Gary Trent, who is a fire starter, but he's kind of on the smallest side, and I'm hearing he's dealing with his own injuries. And then you got an even smaller guy in Fred VanVleet. Siakam is Siakam, but I just think ultimately depth-wise this is going to be a problem unless James Harden completely chokes. But I can see this series going 6 just on the genius of Nick Nurse and maybe the Philadelphia 76ers just kind of choking a game or two away and going cold. But ultimately this is Philly's series to be had. I don't see them losing to Toronto. Milwaukee, Chicago, though, yesterday was an example of playing with your food. Milwaukee was up 20, allowed Chicago to make it a close game. Then Giannis got into foul trouble. I was telling my nephew, who's a Bulls fan, that that they're getting swept. And when they made it close, he was like, "You sure they're getting swept?" And I was, that he thought it boded well that they, were competitive. I told him, I actually think this is worse for you guys because I think that all you did was wake them up. So now they're going to respect it. You guys almost came back and stole game 1 from them. I think now they're going to come back out with more focus and know that you're not a team that they could just play around with. So I still see that series going as a sweep in Milwaukee's case. And then the Boston Nets series. I can't call it because KD and Kyrie are just so great. But one thing I'm learning is Steve Nash is one of the trashiest coaches ever. I'm not sure what he does. The fact that on the defensive end in critical situations, you've got 3 guys out there that are shorter than 6'5", playing against the Celtics is problematic. I can't even believe you're rolling those lineups out there in defensive situations. And then KD had a bad game. Kyrie went nuts. This team is going to completely go as KD and Kyrie go. And you want to talk about it can be explosive either way. Like it could either be really good or really bad. And for instance, yesterday they were losing by double digits, but they went on like a 20-6 run to take a 5-point lead at the end of the game. And that's the Nets in a nutshell. Is you can never put them away because there's so much firepower, but you get them to make a mistake here and there, you can steal a game. And the way Boston's playing defense, Jason Tatum is really coming into his own. I thought that he was basically, I loved me some Jason Tatum. love me some Jason Tatum coming out. I thought he was such a clean prospect, but I thought it was getting to a point where, you know, where they say, like, is he really going to get better? Now, I don't think he's gotten that much better offensively, right? But it's the fact that now he's added the defense to what he does offensively, and it's helped ratcheted his confidence. And he's playing with it with more confidence, and it makes them dangerous. Marcus Smart is being more efficient offensively. He is banging tray after tray nowadays. And Boston is something to mess with. I really can't call this one. And if Ben Simmons makes an appearance, and a lot of people are like, oh, what is Ben Simmons going to do? He hasn't played, and da 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 da. And I was like, no, let's understand something. That might make sense for different teams. But for that team, the Brooklyn Nets, all they need from Ben Simmons is defense and size. They don't have enough size on the court. Just him being on the court, he doesn't have to be the greatest, but just him being on the court provides them size, and even can even get Kyrie and Katie maybe an extra couple minutes of rest because he can actually handle the ball and create. But his defense and rebounding prowess would help this team significantly. And if he can do that, they might be unbeatable in the East. Unbeatable in the East. So I don't know if that's going to happen. They were talking about Ben Simmons in maybe game 4. That's a weird number to choose, but it is what it is. I think this series goes 7. I really can't call this series, so I don't know, guys. But ultimately, I think the East, my prediction, I'm going to go Milwaukee, but that damn Ben Simmons, I really think changes things. If Ben Simmons comes in and looks like the Ben Simmons of old to go with KD and Kyrie, I think that he can tip the scales in Brooklyn's favor. But for now, until I see Ben Simmons, I got Milwaukee going through the East. And then I got Phoenix. I think we're heading for a rematch. I think Golden State could blow it up, but I think ultimately the Achilles heel for Golden State is their lack of size and the fact that they haven't all played together. I think once they plug Steph Curry in and then Klay Thompson, I actually think it has potential to cause a problem because Jordan Poole is on such a roll right now. If they just try to relegate Jordan Poole to just being a 6-man fire starter, I'm not sure how that's going to work chemistry-wise. And I'm not sure this is the time of the year to want to test that. Once Jordan Poole ends up back on the bench, I think it could cause problems, especially when you're playing a team like Phoenix. So I think we got a rematch of Phoenix and Milwaukee. And if CP3 stays healthy, and I'm going to wait to give you my final predictions, but my initial thoughts are if CP3 stays healthy, I think this finals is his to be had finally, and he gets his ring. Well, those are my thoughts, guys, on how the playoffs are going to shake out for now. Let me know what you guys think. Hit me up in the comments, DMs, whatever. Remember to like, subscribe, share. I appreciate all the love, guys. Peace.